record button. All right. Good morning, beautiful ladies. So we already started out the first couple of minutes here hearing the updates, and I'm so happy to hear, that first of all, some of you are back, so that's already amazing. And second of all, I'm so happy to hear the progress and the result. And also, I just asked how you guys feeling. I'm getting a lot of 7s and a lot of 8s, so that's amazing. As I said, the intention of these 21 days is to increase your energy, right? Like to increase your positivity, to increase your energy, and to find your way, right? To find your way of what is the missing piece of the puzzle for you individually, and that at some point during those 21 days, you would be like, that's my missing piece of the puzzle, right? So I would bombard you with all kinds of stuff. You would do a lot of wonderful exercises. And at some point you were like, here's my big piece of the missing puzzle that was always meant to be here. And now I found it and now I can put it here, right? So that was the intention. And so Gunnar for the first time is actually on a 6 today. It's the first time I think I've ever read that from you. Before it was always 4, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4, 4. So well done, very good. So really happy to see the evolution and the positivity as we're ending the challenge on Friday. For those of you that may have not yet heard yesterday's recording, just for the logistics part, on the Friday session, I want you to bring something to celebrate. So if you want to put on nice clothes, or if you want to get some champagne or some nice flowers. I did everything yesterday. I got flowers. Then I realized I no longer had a vase here, so I put it now in the water thingies, in the water where we usually pour water. Then I got myself. I still have a Magnum bottle of Moët. I'm not sure I'm going to open that one on Friday because it's quite a lot for only one person. And so we've got everything. So I invite you to do the same. If you don't want to drink champagne at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, that's okay. You get whatever you feel good with, like make yourself a nice looking cocktail of fruit juices that you enjoy. Like just make something that's nice and makes you feel good. Okay, so a little reminder for that. And we're going to speak about celebration, and we're going to celebrate all of the achievements and all of the things. So that means on Friday, it's going to take a bit longer. So if you can take until 10, that would be great. So then we don't have to stress. So I can speak a little bit about the concept of celebration and how important it is. And then we're going to go into asking you guys like what happened, what's been going on, what changed for you, what are you celebrating, right? So we're going to celebrate the success of each and every one of you over the last 21 days. And I said that today and tomorrow we're going to go through topics with a lot of good vibes and good energy. So today's topic is going to be abundance. And abundance, most people just relate to money, which is also what I'm going to be associating it to in my examples today. However, I do want to mention that the concept of abundance is you can have abundance in all kinds of ways, right? Like abundance can be an abundance of time, an abundance of energy, an abundance of health, an abundance of there's either abundance or there's lack. These are the two options. There is, in fact, in this concept, there is no in between. Like you can't be either abundance or lack. You're either one or you're the other in the way that you're feeling, right? So when we're in abundance energy, the most amazing things happen, and then we create more of whatever it is we desire. When we are in lack energy, we create more of lack. Very simple. So if we think about, I haven't had any clients sign up for new programs, or I haven't sent out any invoices this month, or I haven't If we focus a lot of energy on that, and we don't balance it out with abundance energy, we will experience more lack. So that means even less clients will sign up, we will send even less invoices, even less money will end up on our bank account, and all the things. It really depends what we focus on. And so I'm just thinking what to start off with, because I love the topic, because it's one that I usually speak a lot about with my clients, but I'm never really sure what's the starting point? Because it's like a circle and I'm like, where do I enter? Explaining this. All right. So I think first things first, because it's a concept you guys are very familiar with already. So guess what is the first thing about abundance that we need? Something I've been speaking about day and night in this group. Guess what it is?
Energy.
Yes, energy. Gratitude, bingo.
Gratitude.
But I'm going to talk about energy too, Bernie, so don't worry, both are right. So the first one is gratitude. And the thing is, it all starts off with gratitude. So when we want an abundance of something, so let's say we want abundance of money. So from now, I'm going to go with the example of money. If we want an abundance of money, then we need to think about what are we grateful for, what we already have. Okay, so what are we grateful for, what we already have? And like I said, there's a concept that I have from my coach, which is one step in gratitude, one step in desire. Because what happens is we are grateful for, we always have a desire, right? And what happens is once that desire is fulfilled, our mind does something very, very smart. It automatically asks for the next bigger thing. So let's say we hit a target. So for me, I experienced this last year. It was very interesting. I hit the target of making 100,000 with my horse breeding business in December. And it was a target I had set for since I started breeding in 2016. I was like, can you imagine if one day I will make 100,000 just with the horse breeding business? That was what it was. It was so far away that I cannot even tell you how far away it was. And when I hit it, so the desire was there for a long time and I shifted my energy around it. And then I was super grateful for all of the things that were happening. And I was on 88,000 in November. And then I started like, hey, I can still hit the 100 this year. Like, what if I hit the 100? That would be amazing. What if I could actually manage that? And I started tapping into that energy. And so I was grateful for all the things that already happened 2021. And then I stepped into the desire of more. Now, the that luxury problem to have, that I started thinking about, okay, how am I going to celebrate this? But I didn't really finish the thought of how am I going to celebrate this. I was like, I have to think about, I have to put on my agenda, right, to do, how am I going to celebrate once I hit the 100,000? And we're going to speak about more about this concept on Friday. But the moment I hit it, I was like, damn, I forgot to, plan the party. Like, I don't know how to celebrate this now. I was so like, I literally, I mentioned this yesterday, I literally stumbled across this target and I was like, I almost couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this now actually happened. Like this now actually happened. And then something very interesting happens. And that is, okay, what if next year I can do 200,000, it's like, this is so I haven't even properly digested this fact. I haven't celebrated it. I haven't, it's like, it's not even digested yet. And my mind is already setting the thing on the next thing. It's like, okay, great. Thank you. All right. Next gift, right? Like, where's the next thing coming in? So the mind plays this very tricky things. It's like, if you have all of you ever bought a car and you picked it up from the car dealer? Yes. Okay. So what happens is the moment you go to the car dealer and you pick up that car, so on that day, you're super excited, you go to the car dealer, you pick up your car, they give you the new keys, you put the keys in the engine, you start the engine, you drive off and you're like, ooh, this is amazing. And then there's some mini little part in your car where you're like, oh, but it doesn't have this. All right, but my next car better have that. So we're already, and we all did this, you're all laughing because you've all been there before. I've been there before. I've been like, but it doesn't have, like my car now, it has everything. The only thing it doesn't have is that thingy in the mirror where it warns you if somebody's in your rear mirror on the side, right? That's the only thing it doesn't have, I swear. And it was the first thing, and I was like, damn, it doesn't have that. Like, isn't that supposed to be part of the package if it has everything else? And so I was immediately, my first thought was, okay, next car is gonna have that. And then the next thought was, yeah, and the next one should probably also be a little bit bigger one, you know, like I want the bigger size. And that's ridiculous, but this is the way our mind works. So that is why it is important that we are always grateful for what we have, and it is okay and normal to have a foot in the desire of the next thing we want to have. We're grateful for the car we have now, and we're super excited about the next car we're going to have. But give it a moment, okay? So when you achieve it, like achieve it, realize it, like take it in fully, celebrate all the way. I'm going to go through this part in a lot of detail on Friday, okay? But I wanted to mention it nevertheless, because really it's a bit of a disease, and I just want you to see how normal it is as well. So that's the first part. 1 foot in gratitude, 1 step in desire, and always going a bit up with the desire, but still being grateful for what we have. The second part is that we need to put ourselves into the energy of what we want to have, right? If we want to have abundance energy, then we need to become an energetic match for this abundance. Now, what does that mean? I have been searching for the answer to this question for the last couple of years. And I have one friend, this is a very funny story. I have one friend, she used to be a DJ. She is extremely pretty. She used to be, I think she used to be a model. I'm not sure. I think so. She's also officially, so I'm not giving away any secrets, she is officially not original anymore in her entire body. So she had a few things upgraded, and but she's extraordinarily beautiful. And she came out of nothing. She comes from a very poor family. And she has had several occasions in her life where she came from nothing to a lot. So she came from nothing, became a DJ, and made a lot of money, had a boyfriend that went into bankruptcy, dragged her into the bankruptcy. He went to jail. She didn't. She came out of it, and she managed to make all of the money back out of the debt and made it again to a lot. So, and she did this several times. Okay, she did this several times. And so we've been friends for a couple of years now. And the funny thing was that I asked her that, and she teaches also a lot about abundance energy and these things. And I asked her, okay, so how do you do this? Like, if we want more and more abundance, like, how do we do this? And she said, okay, you need to invest in yourself. I was like, okay, invest in myself. Okay, how? Of course, how? Okay, so you need to buy really expensive clothes. Aha. All right. And you need to fly business class. Okay. And you need to do, I don't know, invest in all kinds of things, massages and this and that and left and right. Now, the thing is, this was her key in order to tap into abundance. The problem was it wasn't mine, because when I paid business class, it almost gave me a heart attack. And I was sitting in there going like, why the hell did I pay for this? Like, this is like, I don't feel it, honestly. It's great I get a glass of champagne. It's great I get like extra food and all the things, but I felt I was wasting a lot of money. It made me very uncomfortable. I didn't feel good at all. And it was also because my parents had wired me my entire life. It's like, we do a million vacations everywhere. We fly to the Maldives, we do this, we do that, we do that, we do that, but we never fly business. It just didn't happen. It's just, and I never needed it, honestly. I never needed it. So I was sitting there in business and I was like, okay, I mean, this is nice. Yes. Okay. I feel more abundant, probably. Yes. But I just wasted so much money. Like, I could have spent another 2 weeks on this vacation for this amount of money. So it didn't land with me. I didn't feel abundant at all. Not zero. It didn't cause the feeling of abundance. It made me, the entire flight, I was thinking, this was such a waste of money. This was such a waste of money. This was such a waste of money, which definitely is not abundant energy. Okay. The next thing she said was buy expensive clothes. Okay. Buy expensive clothes. All right. And then I called her and I said, okay, how expensive is expensive? And she said, well, go to Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana and I don't know what's. Like, okay, fine. Yeah, we'll do that. So I did. And again, I was like, I always bought expensive shoes and handbags, so that concept was new to me. But honest to goodness, I didn't buy a lot of dresses at Gucci. Like I would invest in a really nice pair of shoes. I would invest in a really nice handbag. That for me made me feel really good and abundant. But buying a dress that I could wear once a year was like, what's the point? So anyway, I bought the dress, and again, it was exactly the same story. I was like, okay, this is, like I can wear it once a year. What a waste. It made me feel amazing. Of course, it made me feel beautiful and amazing. It was a wonderful dress. I still have it. And it's every time I wear it, I feel great, but I wear it once a year, right? I wear it once, maybe twice if I'm lucky. And so I was like, and every time I wear it, I think, yeah, it was a very expensive thing, So the point is that for her, that was her sequence of abundance, and her sequence to manifesting was business class, buying expensive clothes, always going for the best, getting massages and hairdresser. Now the hairdresser stuff, I didn't even try out because I hate going to the hairdresser, and I already knew that. So I knew that wouldn't put me in that energy, because the moment I put my head in that thing, I have pain on my neck. So I hate going to the hairdresser. So that's done for me. I don't do that. So you need to find your sequence that puts you into an abundance energy, right? Because it's the same thing. Like some people tell you, oh yeah, like if I want to feel good energetically, I need to dance, I need to eat chocolate, and I need to burn a candle, right? For somebody else, that is the absolute nightmare of spending time. They hate dancing, they don't find candles are pretty, and they think chocolate makes them fat. So, it's really a matter of finding the right recipe for you. So you need to try out different things and see what makes me feel abundant. What makes me feel really good? What makes me feel like I'm worth $1 million? And that is going to shift completely your energy around abundance. Like when you feel abundant, that's what you need to tap into, and that's what you need to replicate more. And it's a bit of a trial and error process, and you can try the things, like by all means, go to Gucci, okay, try on the dress. And if it gives you a heart attack and you're like, okay, honestly, this is not going to make me feel better. Like if it doesn't make you feel abundant, the minute you put on that dress, don't buy it. It's as simple as that, right? Oh, the other thing I tried, that was the last thing she said, is go and have expensive food. And I did that last year. I was like, okay, you know what? Like, let's really splurge my family for my birthday and go to the most expensive restaurant in town. And I was like, yeah, order champagne and all the things. And then I was sitting there and I was really like, okay, I wonder what this bill is going to be. Like, this is, like, this is probably going to hurt. And then that was another very important lesson I learned last year. So we had our birth. I had my birthday lunch. We all had lunch. We had a lot of champagne. Then we switched to wine. Then we had more wine. And when the bill came, I remember I closed my eyes before, you open that little envelope they give you, and I was like, and then afterwards, it kept me busy for a long time, because I was like, it's interesting, the energy around it. Like I was not so much annoyed about the amount. I was more like, this is very interesting, the energy I have around this topic of investing that much in food and investing that much in going to dinner. And I was like, how can I shift this energy around this? So I then was like, okay, it's great. Like I splurged my family. I'm really happy to do that, like that we can go to the most expensive place. I don't know how many expensive places my dad will still go to in his lifetime. So it's all good and all fine. And we had the best champagne, and it was a champagne that I really like. So I felt good about it. But still, I was like, well, was this worth it? And then I said, you know what? It made me feel good. It was worth it. I'm just going to put it as like yes, I invested in this. And it was one of the things I ticked off my bucket list last year. It was one of the things where I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this, and I'm going to invest in this, and it's going to make me feel good. But it took me a while in order to really come to this conclusion. At the beginning, I put my card and I was like, okay, all right. This was an expensive exercise. This was a very expensive learning, but that's the way it is. right? So we put ourselves in the energy, we really feel it, and we look for different things, and it's a trial and error process. I'm not going to lie to you, it is a trial and error process, but as long as you take the learning and you see how it feels and you see, okay, can I make me feel differently? Can I extract it or change it in a way that actually does make me feel abundant and that does make me feel good? Like when I went to the restaurant, I was like, okay, at the end, in hindsight, I then ended up having an abundant experience with it. But at the beginning, when I put my credit card down, I didn't, right? So when I put my credit card down, it was like, ouch, this hurts. But after, I could change it into an experience where I was like, actually, this was pretty amazing. This is the first time I did this, that I really took my entire family out, you know, for an lunch in the most expensive place. And I did it for my birthday, and I didn't think about it I didn't think too much about it whilst we were ordering. So it wasn't like I said, sure, another bottle of champagne. I didn't go like for 10 minutes, am I going to order another bottle? Like, can I afford this? Is it on my bank account? I was like, sure, let's order another one, right? So the experience still felt good in my body, but it took me a while for my mind to catch up with the experience, right? So this is where abundance comes in, and abundance can come from the smallest things. You don't even have to take money. Like one of the things where I thought my friend was so wrong in hindsight, where she said, it felt for me like I need to make so much money in order to invest more money in order to finally feel abundant. That's what it felt like to me. And this was not true, because I found abundance in the smallest of things that didn't cost me anything, or that cost me, I don't know, 30 euros, 40 euros. Like you can find abundance in things that are so small and that make you feel like $1 million. And for example, I mean, okay, champagne is also not for free. I understand that, but it's one of the things that makes me feel always really good is champagne and flowers. Like this is for me abundance, and this is for me beauty. And when I look at them, I'm like, wow, you know, I carry them around. So then I have them first in the kitchen, and then I take them into the office and I put them there, and I see them all day when I'm working. And in between, I have this reminder of beauty, and I can tap into the energy of beauty multiple times. It's the small things that matter the most, because the big things, you don't feel them as long. Like that Gucci dress, I didn't feel it as long. I felt it for one night, and for the rest, it just annoyed me that I spent so much money on it. But in between, if you invest in, if you do smaller things in between that make you feel abundant, you know, it doesn't matter. It still makes you feel abundant. It just has to be small things that you do. Like, for example, one of the things we do is in Belgium, we have a lot of amazing chocolate, right? And so one of the things we do on a regular basis is we buy the really small boxes of these pralines. Now, there are two advantages to buying those small boxes. One, they're not as expensive, and two, you don't end up eating the whole box on an evening, because you eat the box on an evening. So, but then you eat a small box and not the big box. So that helps a lot as well, right? So this is something that makes you feel, buying, for example, like one of the things I started doing last year, it's really tapping yourself with small things where you're not abundant. One of the things I invested in, very small investment last year, was shower gel. Ridiculous, but shower gel. So I always bought the very cheap private label shower gels for like 1 or 2 euros. And then I went to Rituals. I discovered Rituals. So I got it gifted first by a friend, and I thought it must be like 30 euros a bottle, which it turns out it isn't. But I'm really obsessed with smells. I love good smells and things that smell good. Like I have a gazillion candles that smell good, and all the things. And to be honest, the 1 or 2 euro bottles of shower gel, they don't smell as much. And so this Rituals thing was really something where I started buying so much of that. And then I bought the Rituals bathtub thingy. They have like this own thing that you have for your bathtub that makes amazing bubbles, and that also smells really good, and it has oil in it as well, so it's good for your skin. So I'm not paid by Rituals, by the way, but it's something that it smells so good and it makes you feel so good that like I'm really happy to invest that extra 6 or 7 euros into a bottle of shower gel. that is totally okay for me. But that was not the case a year ago. I would have said, are you crazy? Like, what's the difference between a 10 euro shower gel and a 2 euro shower gel? This is totally not worth its money. But it is because I shifted my abundance around that. And I'm like, you know what? I want to feel amazing. I want to smell amazing. So yes, I am going to invest a couple of euros more in a bottle of shower gel. So it's the small things. It's not the big things. It's the small things that make you feel abundant. And every time I open that Rituals bottle in the shower, I'm like, this is amazing. This makes me feel so good. So, and that moment is worth so much than just going, okay, I'm clean, right? It's just a different energy and a different vibe that you're in. And the fact that I'm consciously investing in Rituals every time makes me feel abundant, that I can just say, okay, it makes me feel abundant to do that. The same thing, I've got those bottles with the smells, so the room essences, I like those a lot as well. So these are the small investments that we make that are important. Another story I want to share with you in terms of abundance and in terms of appreciating what you have and gratitude was this home that I'm just leaving this week, actually. So I'm in Vienna right now. I'm in my old apartment. And so I stayed here for a year, but I moved in just when I met my current partner. And I moved in here with my ex-partner. And then 1 month later, my ex-partner, he moved out. And it was very funny because also the universe really made it in perfect timing. Sorry, a little side story there. It was just the craziest thing about how all of this came together. So my former partner, he did a mistake when he canceled our last apartment, and we ended up having the apartment a month longer than we were supposed to, which ended up being the best thing ever, because then when we split up, he had a place to go. So we still had the old apartment. So he went back to the old apartment. He kept that apartment and I stayed in this apartment. So it was a mistake. It was initially a mistake, but it ended up being positive for us. So this is where sometimes you don't know what it's good for. Like at the beginning, we were so annoyed that they wouldn't let us out of the contract, and we were really pissed off, and we were like, okay, one month, and what does it matter? And at the end of the day, it was the best thing that could have happened to us, because we split up and it was immediately like, okay, very easy. You go back to the old apartment. I stay in this apartment, done. Easy cheesy. So in this apartment, it was very quickly with my new partner, it was clear that I was going to be moving to Belgium because he couldn't move to Vienna. So after about 2 months, we started really making serious plans about, okay, how is this, like, if we're serious about this, how is this going to work out? And we very quickly came to the conclusion, there's no way he can move to Austria, so I need to move to Belgium. So that's why also it was very quickly clear that I'm not going to invest a lot of money into furnishing this apartment. However, I said, look, honestly, it's lockdown. We're spending all of our time at home. For a couple of months, you're going to stay here, because during lockdown, he came to stay with me here in Austria. And we don't know how long this is going to last. So in this time, I want this apartment to be nice. And I'm going to invest in order for it to be nice. That doesn't mean I'm going to buy designer furniture, but that means I'm going to buy and invest in things that make me feel good and that make it look nice. So I took, I think, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 euros, really not a lot. And I invested in things that were important for me, and where I said, I just want to feel good in this apartment. And he kept telling me, like, what a waste of money, and what a waste of money, and what a waste of money. The funny thing is, now I sold all of the things secondhand, and I ended up charging more than what I paid for it. So I actually made money in this whole process. Okay. It's just a matter of how you look at it. But this was something where I said, it's such a beautiful apartment. It would be absolute shame and disgrace not to furnish it with nice things. And it would be like, I want to invite people as well, once it's possible, once we're out of lockdown, I want to invite people, and I would feel ashamed having such a beautiful apartment and then, like, I don't know, a wooden, like some really old shabby tables. It's like, that just doesn't fit. So I said, I'm going to invest a little bit, and I'm sure I set the intention that I'm going to make the money back. And I did. And I even made some on top. So this is something where, you know, it's so worth, it always depends on how you do that, how you think about it, how you set the intention about it. But if you feel good and you feel abundant, more abundance is going to come towards you. Okay. All right, so that is it for the abundance. I'm going to open to questions and then I'm going to give you your homework. So what are some other questions you have?
I have a question. From what you shared, it seems that we could also connect through senses that we have naturally. So for example, I'm very visual, so I like objects, I like paintings, I like this for me, when I look at it, makes me really feel good. And thanks to all my traveling, I gathered a lot of things from all over the world. And so by connecting to these visual things could also, which are already in my home, could also bring me this energy of abundance, right? So then the same for the scent, smelling. I have a very sensitive olfactory, I don't know what's the word. So then I could also add this to my visual, right? So it's not necessarily looking for something outside, but then eventually go in the easy way and look at, okay, what am I more tuned in a daily base, and look for these things.
Exactly.
Like also going into nature. I love admiring trees, houses, because I live in a beautiful place where there's a lot of beautiful things to just see by walking. So then this could be also linked with the energy of abundance.
Yeah,
absolutely. Not necessarily an object that you have or that you purchase, right?
100%. And the thing is, for example, like, let's say, like, I hear you like traveling, right? And I can assume that once, you know, it's easier to travel and all the things, you're probably going to want to take that up. Now, let's say you wanted to upgrade your travel style in terms of like, hey, what if next time I stay at this and this hotel because I can and because I want to, right? Like, instead of staying at one, you upgrade and you stay at the more luxurious one. And let's be honest, there's always a more luxurious option to tap into. And if that is something that you like and that you connect to. Now, if you have a painting that you purchased somewhere where you really love the energy there, or any other art object, you really love the energy there, you really connected to it, you felt amazing there, then put that object in a place where you see it a lot and give that object a meaning. So say to yourself, okay, every time I see that object, I'm going to tap into the feeling of what it felt like to be there and there. And I'm going to imagine going there and going back and going with like the super abundance and going there with, you know, going there and upgrading to a more luxurious place, or even staying there for a longer time, right? Like, what if I become a digital nomad and I can stay there for a longer time and I can find this way of living there and you know, for some time and supporting myself through other ways, becoming creative, you know, and then watching all the sunsets there all the time. Like, these are the kind of things that you can do. You can give these things meaning that like certain objects give you and put you back into a memory and in a place where like, wow, I can't wait to go back.
Okay. Thank you.
Bernice, welcome. You're muted, sweetie.
Thanks, Nadia. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just to add up to what you just said is that the abundance also comes with the feeling of trust that there's going to be more. That means when we are offering something, where we are buying something for ourselves or for somebody else, from the place of, oops, I will just be limited, and you can even feel that, I will just buy this because you're saying unconsciously, you are fearing that the day later you're not going to have. And that's exactly the scarcity mindset. So it's just being abundant with what you offer. If it's a dinner, if it's a lunch, if it's a present, of course, maybe with certain limits, right? But it's this generosity, even with ourselves. And, you know, just to share also something that it happens to me very often is that I like, of course, I like going to nice places. Huh? But also every time that I go with my partner, I have a very good eye. Whatever I like, wherever I put the eye is the most expensive. Wherever, it always happens to me. But it happens to be as well that we end up always in the good restaurants, in good places, in good stuff, because I love these kind of places and I feel I belong to that place. So the fact that you belong, I mean, that you really enjoy being in such places, you feel like, yes, this is my environment. And then by doing that, you attract unconsciously more of this. It comes so naturally. And this is really amazing. I love it. I love experiencing these kind of things. So I'm not one of those going shopping very often. So I'm not investing money in high heels like you or handbags. I mean, it's a different thing for me. But for me, it's travels. Travels. When I travel, I love traveling and I love going in a daily basis. I book every day because I like traveling in different places every day. But I know that, and when I book every single day, I don't have the fear of not having a right place because I know that the day I'm going to look for a place is going to be the best place. And many times I get really the best spots because if you book the very last day, I mean, they have offers, right? So I go to the deals, to the sales, and I always get the right spots. So it's also it's attracting, you're attracting as well. The moment that you are generous with yourself, you are believing that you belong and that you deserve that. And
Exactly.
by doing that unconsciously, really you attract it. It's amazing.
Exactly. And the
but
other
this also has to do with sorry, just to say that once I remember many years ago, I was putting the table, when we're setting the table, when we invite people, and then we offer this very little peanuts, this very little thing, that sends already a message unconsciously of what little, instead of, even though we can refill afterwards, right? But the moment, the message we are sending there is like, yes, I only offer this, right? Because and that is also a small detail. Why are you laughing, Nadia?
I'm laughing because it reminds me the peanut story. I don't know if I've told this before, but the peanut story is a very famous one in our family because my mom, her partner, he's Dutch, and the Dutch are very well known for being a bit like stingy, like a bit like, not very much abundance mindset, let's put it like that. Okay,
careful about the money.
Careful about the money, right? And I never knew that actually until I started dating my partner, who's Belgian, and the Belgians don't get along so well with the Dutch, and there's a whole thing there, and the Belgians say, oh, the Dutch are this, and the Dutch don't really care about the Belgians, so it's a bit of a funny thing. So I never knew this, but I was always wondering about one thing that happened that was a constant quarrel between my mom and her partner. And this was the following. My mom loves doing parties. My mom loves being the hostess. So she always invites a lot of people to her house and have dinner parties and all the things. And her partner is responsible for doing the shopping usually. And they have one like shelf where there's all of the party food is there. And he always buys one bag of peanuts. And it drives my mom insane because she's like, we have guests like almost every day and you buy one bag of peanuts, like, that's never going to work out and it's never going to be enough. And why can't you just buy 5 bags of peanuts? Like, it doesn't cost that much more money. I don't understand it. So it's, and it happens every time. It doesn't happen once. It happens every single time. Every time we're there. Really, every time we're there, my mom's like, yeah, take out the peanuts and put them in the thing, and then she opens the thing, she's like, there are not enough peanuts. And we all start laughing. So it became like this constant joke. That's why I'm laughing when you said about the peanuts, because we have our own little family story about this. So yeah, I love that. And this is, sometimes it's a cultural thing also. That's what I also want to say with this. Like, abundance mindset is sometimes a cultural thing, that there are things that we think there are never enough of and that we never have enough. And one really interesting thing, for example, what I realized is In Austria and Germany in particular, because of World War II, there is a huge lack mentality, and there's always this idea of not having enough. In Austria, more than anywhere else I've ever experienced it. And the reason for that is because Austria used to be this huge empire before the First World War. After the First World War, it was cut into like, I'm not sure exactly the dimensions, but I think a fifth of what it was before. So this mentality of there's not enough, you know, because we're like, now we used to be this big and now we're this small, and like, how are we going to sustain ourselves? How are we going to have enough food? How are we going to have enough resources? Like, you know, this feeling, it is engraved in the DNA of this country. So there's a lot, as a result, there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of like, oh, look what this person have, I don't have it. Like, oh, look, he's so rich and I'm not. And like, there's a lot of this going on here. And it's in the DNA. Like, it's one of the things I realized, it's in the DNA of the people here. And it's nothing you can change in one generation. It's going to take generations to clean that up. So it's a cultural thing as well, abundance. Whereas, you know, like if you go to South America, for example, people don't have a lot of money there, but hey, they party and they feel the most abundant ever. And as long as they have their fancy smartphone, they are the richest people on the planet, you know, and they are super generous with everything they have, and they invite you to dinner even though they have nothing. And it's a completely different mindset, right? So this is also where it's a cultural thing as well, but we can tap into the energy of feeling the most abundant ever and attracting the things into our life to really create magic, you know. And it doesn't matter if you're looking for more money or more travel or more, because the reality of it is a number doesn't excite you. A number, like if I say 1 million, it's like, okay, 1 million, great. It doesn't excite me. Like, the things we can do with money is what excites us. The achievements that we can, like the bucket list we can achieve with money, that's what excites us. It's not the, okay, I have $1 million on my bank account. Okay, that doesn't excite me at all. Like, seeing that number on a bank account of having it doesn't do anything for me, and it usually doesn't with anybody else. It's the things that, the experiences, the investments we can do, the legacy we can leave for people. My coach, she made 24 million last year, and she said dollars. And she said, honestly, it excited me more to have 1,000 more followers on Instagram than another 1 million on my bank account. And I thought that was a very interesting statement. It's like 1,000 more followers versus $1 million. That's really interesting. So this is where, you know, we look at what is it that we really want to have, and what is the abundance we want to tap into. Now, there's one fun exercise that taps into the energy of abundance, and that is the 111 list. Now, this is something I already mentioned it before, but I hadn't given it as homework. And I hadn't given it as homework for a very particular reason, because it's one of the bigger homeworks, and I wanted you guys to focus on the forgiveness letters first. So the 111 list is, you take it as far as you can, okay? So don't put yourself under pressure, but I want you to start a list of things, not that you want to have, but things that you want to experience. What are the memories you want to make? And some of those things you will achieve in 2022, and some of those things you won't. But it is extremely exciting to start crossing off things from that 111 list. It feels so good. And it can be, it's not only things that cost something, it can be things that are like doing a picnic, doesn't cost anything, right? Like doing a picnic under the stars is one of the things I have on mine. Doesn't cost me anything. One of the things I also have on there is doing a trip with my dad, right? Like I said, I told you guys yesterday, one of the promises I made to myself is to make this year an experience of memories for my dad. So one of the things that's on my list is to do a trip with my dad. So these are the kind of things, and you can take as long as you like this list doesn't have to be completed by tomorrow. You can take a couple of days. I'm now on, I don't know how many, quite a bit, but for sure, I think I wrote 3 or 4 pages, but I don't have I didn't count them yet. Honestly, I did not count them yet. Like I can tell you another one that I have is take a super luxurious spa day with multiple treatments. Haven't done that in a long time. So that was one of the things that I had. Take a moonshine walk on the beach. That also implies that I'm on a beach. What else do I have on here? Be on stage again in front of hundreds of people. That was another one I said, for example. So that's something that makes me feel good. But yeah, so it's these kind of things, you know, that's like, what's on your bucket? Like, what are the kind of things you want to experience this year and potentially also next year? So it doesn't matter so much what you put on there. And it doesn't matter if you don't have 111 immediately, but just work on this and think like, I wanted to get into the energy of everything is possible and what if, and there should be some there that are like, what if I could do this and see what happens? And if at the end of the year, you can cross it off your list, right? It can be also, it can be practical things like, I want to, like one of the things I have in there, for example, is to, it is associated a bit to an investment, but I said, I want to redecorate and redo our bedroom. That was one of the things that are on there, even though it's also associated with something that's doing, but I was thinking about more, what is it going to make me feel? What is the experience going to be like of redecorating it? Okay, any other questions to the homework before we wrap up? No, okay. Noticing I'm taking longer and longer now. It's 5 to 10. I'm sorry. But this is a concept that I really want to land. You know, this is a concept that is really important to take in. Like when you get this right, the most amazing things happen, like really, honestly.
And it's actually contagious, Nadia, because as I hear you talking, you're giving me energy, you know? I told you already this before. But when I hear you still talking about all this, I feel like, yeah. So good idea. Yeah.
Great. I'm happy to hear that. I'm very, very happy to hear that. All right. Okay. So keep the energy, tap into abundance energy today, do your 100 and start your 111 list. And yeah, see what comes up. See what comes up. If you want, post a couple of examples in the group so you can inspire other people, because at the beginning, it's not so easy to think of things. That's why I told you a couple of examples, but once you're in the mood and you're like, then it's one and the next is like, wow, yeah, I want to do a moonshine walk on the beach. Okay, maybe I also want to do a moonshine walk at home, you know, and then maybe I want to do a picnic under the stars. So that's how these things came. That was the combo of that one, right? So write a couple of things in the group. I'm sure you will inspire other people to come up with some creative ideas as well. Like you can steal from other people. That's okay. All right. Okay, ladies, I wish you a wonderful day and I will see you back tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.